the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
Ladies and gentlemen, I will ask that you all take your seats, please. We're about to go live. Ladies and gentlemen, if everyone could take their seats, we're about to go live. Ladies and gentlemen, can you take your seats? We're about to go live, okay? All right, thank you very much.
Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're about to go live. Michelle, Senator Taylor, could you take your seats, please?
Waltzing in the garden.
Since y'all just gonna make me say names, you know, I will, you know.
Dance up.
And Milwaukee's own Al Jarreau right there.
Let me tell you before you get told.
You got
See, I run my own thing like I won the championship ring.
period. So I say to all my misses, I'm looking fly, I rock my business.
Okay.
Now my friends be dialing and calling, while I'm having fun and balling.
Everybody get on the right shit. Sister for attention. Entrepreneurship.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Hustle and Grow team with Anita, the three-pointer.
Entrepreneurship.
Summer, the Stanford Scholar. And last but not least, Naomi, the artist.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Okay. So I think first we should explain our brand name. So I'm gonna go first. I'm Naomi the artist, and the reason why is because I'm a very creative person, and I consider myself an artist.
I'm Anita the three-pointer. I chose this name because while I'm always on the court, I always like make more threes than twos.
Yeah, I'm Summer, the Stanford Scholar, but I'm actually going to pause in the statement because I'm going to explain that further later on in the show.
Okay, so our first guest, we have a phenomenal woman, Senator Lena Taylor.
Hello, hello,
Hi.
hello.
Good afternoon, Senator Taylor. So we're gonna start with our first question. When you were young, what was some of your original dreams?
Wow. When I was young, I'm thinking of Lena. I gotta close my eyes to think back that far, y'all. Seriously though, I'm thinking about the 11-year-old Lena who was working in my grandmother's grocery store and my mother's restaurant. And I frankly was just hoping to make more than penny candy, even though I was doing real good with the penny candy thing. I didn't really, if I could be honest with you, I wasn't dreaming about anything that I'm really doing now, right? Back then, just working in the family's restaurant was what I wanted. And it was on 29th and North Avenue. And as I saw and heard about things, you know, like I heard about this guy that was called Blondie. He was a police officer. And I heard about what was happening in the community with him. And I wanted to become a lawyer because I then wanted to be able to help clean up what I was seeing happening on what was called the Strip. So food was a major portion of my life, and feeding people and serving people. So the first thing I can remember is wanting to be a lawyer so that I could help to clean up things. And it was, you know, many, of course, years later that ended up happening. I didn't have any idea the connection on how I was going to become a lawyer in order to do those things. But those were some of my first dreams, was to be a lawyer. And before that, probably, you know, a teacher, because I was always doing stuff with the kids in the neighborhood, making up a little fair in my backyard, doing stuff like that.
Those some nice dreams.
You were a lawyer at first, so how did you become senator afterwards?
So I was a lawyer practicing law for not quite a decade, and it was a guy I went to high school with, who was a state representative. His name is Leon Young. He was the person who encouraged me to run for state representative because I wanted to be an alderperson. I wanted to be just like the person that I had watched serve our community, made our streets look great. Everybody loved him. You all know him. Our mayor, our county executive, Marvin Pratt. He was my alderman. He's what I saw as leadership and the example of what I saw as service. And when Marvin said that he was not going to run, I'm like, I'm gonna run for alderman. And it was Leon Young who said, you know, being a state representative really aligns more with your law degree. You know, and I was like, really, what does state rep do? And that was the beginning of me looking into running for state representative. And I was like, that makes sense. Leon is right, mama. And I ended up running for state representative. And 9 months later, running for re-election for state representative. And 9 months later, running for senator behind Gwen Moore, who is now our congressperson.
Wow.
Yes.
And what has been your biggest challenge as senator, and how have you overcome it?
Oh my. Ooh. It's two big challenges. One, the people in Madison, that can be a challenge on both sides of the aisle, if I can be honest. And the lack of understanding of process in our community, the need in our community is so great. And so how do we overcome it? Working overtime. That's what I'm gonna say, working overtime, trying to be the voice to help people understand civics. You know, one side of the aisle and people being on the other side of the aisle. So literally just rolling up my sleeves and trying to just do that work to help people be more informed and to try to be what I said I wanted to be, which was the bridge between the community and government, and help people navigate that. And I'm going to tell you that that can be draining. And so I don't know if I've overcome it. I don't know if I've, solved, of course, we've not solved the problems, but just every day trying to help one more person be more informed. And moments like this, can I say, are encouraging, because talking to young people so that they can look at me and say, well, wow, if you're a state senator, I'm only the 5th African American when I got sworn in to be a state senator. I'm only the 2nd black girl to be a state senator when I got sworn in. There have been 2 since me, women and 1 man and 1 Republican. And so it is exciting when I can be among young people and you can see that if I can do it, you can do it. That there's somebody that's called a senator, that somebody's a senator that looks like you. That's the stuff that motivates me. That's the stuff that says, okay, we can close the gap. Just keep trying.
And did you have a lot of support while getting through those challenges?
Oh man, my ace boon coon, the one that sound like me, even though we totally different, y'all just don't know, Michelle Bryant. That's been a huge support for me. Having a staff person who is as passionate about serving the community as I am makes it so much easier. Someone who, when someone calls or emails our office with a constituent issue, having that kind of support in the office, on the team, is crucial. But the community has been amazing. And I think the election that will forever be an example of showing that the support runs deep is back in my re-election in whatever year that was, I can't even remember now, 2015, 16, when redistricting, or whatever, whenever it was, but when redistricting, after redistricting had happened, it was a shocker to see just the number of people that came out to show support when the districts had been changed, and the love that people have shown over the course of years. And I'll end with this. There was a woman who said something to me early on in my career being an elected official. She said, you need to have receipts. And I was like, receipts? It's like proof, right? Like you can't take nothing back to the store, right? If you don't have a receipt, right? Having receipts, showing up for people, being there, helping to solve problems, and that's why I started with having a staff person and a team. Michelle and I haven't done it alone. We've had interns and other people who have worked in the office, but having people who do the work, because I can't do it all as the senator, right? I can't answer every call, I can't answer every email, I can't go to every event. And so having people who do that work, that's the support that creates the receipts that make for the support that shows up in elections.
Great. Yeah. So is there anything that you would want to do after becoming a senator?
That's a really good question. I actually always knew at some point I'd like to dust off that law degree of mine and put it to use again. And I'd like to sit on the bench and become a judge. And so ironically, I just announced yesterday that I'm running for municipal court judge. And so that's my next. That's my next. Thank you.
Okay, so what advice would you give a young person who wanted to enter politics?
So the first thing I'd say is, before you run, start with just participating and volunteering in an office, participating and going to committee meetings, or being a part of something in your community. You don't have to be elected to make a difference. But if you want to be an elected person, I really encourage you to start there. Learn the craft. Learn a little bit about it. You know, that's like somebody saying they want to just go into journalism and they don't never ever do what you do. You know, learning to interview people and participating is not as easy as people think it is it? To just do a show. You gotta do your research and get your script and all that kind of stuff. Well, I encourage you to do the same thing if being elected is something you think you want to do. And it's not hard to get involved. Even the state senate office takes volunteers, interns. We take folks in high school. We take folks in college. We take folks that are retired. Hint, hint, out in the audience. We take it all. Because in the end, there's more need than it is us, right? To be able to do it. And I'll end with this. No matter what it is that you want to do or be, I encourage you to start always with your research. Start always with learning about it and then going from there.
A few weeks ago, you mentioned something about programs around agriculture. Could you briefly explain?
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you asked, because that's my favorite topic, y'all, agriculture. And the reason it is because of how healing, how transformational I believe it can be for our community. And what I brought up previously when we were together are the scholarships that are available in agriculture. Any parents out here with young people that are gonna go to college or interested in college? All right, well, you wanna know about the 1890 scholarships. These are scholarships, so if someone wants to be like Miss Lisa, and they want to be have an ag business, because that's what she has. Did you enjoy your food today? That's an ag business. And so if you want to do culinary, like Miss Lisa, or if you want to, someone asked me about going to their family's farm, if they want to farm or grow things. If someone knows someone who has diabetes or high blood pressure, one of the first things that the doctor tells you is that you need to eat differently, right? Dietitian and nutritionists help with that. Those 1890 scholarships are to historical black colleges. 4 years, tuition, room, board, so where you eat and what you and where you sleep, and room, board, books, fees, a paid internship, and a job with benefits in the end, but you got to major in, guess what? Agriculture. And so that is huge, to be able to have that opportunity to go to a HBCU, to be able to get scholarships. And then there was the 1994 USDA scholarships, which are to tribal colleges, and we have 2 tribal colleges in our state, the Menominee and Lac du Flambeau. So I love telling people about those scholarships, because the opportunities that exist in agriculture, it's like a never-ending blooming onion, I like to say. There's always so many things that you can do. So that's some of the information that I shared.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Senator Lena Taylor. We appreciate your time, talent, and treasures today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you ladies. You keep doing what you're doing, and I know one day you're gonna be the Doug Kellys helping to, do advertisement at a radio station, or you're gonna be the Michelle Bryants that are the voice on the radio. And at the very least, you're gonna build confidence to be able to do what a lot of people are sometimes afraid to do, which is to speak in front of a group of people.
Thank you.
Bless you all.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Okay, so now we are going to interview my sister, Summer Laster. So Summer, earlier we did not talk about your branding, but what is this Summer the Stanford Scholar?
I've named myself Summer the Stanford Scholar as my brand because where I go to for high school is called Stanford Online High School, and it's founded by Stanford University in 2006. So that was the inspiration for my brand name.
How did you get connected to this school?
Yeah. So first thing, it happened to be like a letter that I got sent to me, and at first I didn't know like what it was about, but it was like suggesting that I apply to Stanford Online High School, and so I just eventually did it because like my mom suggested it. And at first I didn't know like how it was gonna end up, but then I got nervous when I found out that it was one of the top high schools in the world, really, because it was founded by one of the top universities in the world. So.
And then are you like one of the youngest people in your class, or is there like?
No. I was gonna be the youngest people in my class, but the high school that I go to, they like strive for people to graduate at like older ages, like 17 and 18. So instead, they made me retake 8th grade.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sucks. So like, how was the workload at school?
It's definitely it's not as hard as I expected, except for like maybe when you get later on into the year when it's really how difficult the material is, and the assignments they're due at like a really good date, but it's just the material that's very hard to understand, which is like why they offer like tutoring with not only professionals, but they also offer it with like kids who are like on the honor roll stuff.
And since you're doing school online, do you find it more difficult than being in person, or?
No, not really. I feel like maybe when you're a person, I guess you can have like more communication with like the staff there, but also like when you're online, you have like more time to yourself, or you can just work at your own pace, I guess.
Have you ever been to the university?
Actually, I've been there recently, like a few months ago in August. It was like a camp there where we went there and we studied at the university, and I took a few courses. I think one was like about like Greek related, and then the other one was a language course.
Did you spend the night like after school too, like on campus?
It wasn't on campus, but like there were like houses, I guess, that were reserved for people who were staying there, and they had dorms and stuff like that.
Oh, that's nice. So are you planning to go to the Stanford University College?
It's definitely on my list, along with like other Ivy League colleges, and I actually wouldn't mind to be like a college, maybe like a HBCU college either, but I would also like consider going here, definitely.
All right, thank you, Summer. We wish you great success.
Yeah.
Our next individual is very well known as a community and political activist. She is always asking the tough questions of others, but today we get a chance to ask her what everyone wants to ask. The host of Say Something Real on WNOV Radio, Miss Michelle Bryant. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's happening? How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
So, of all interviews you have done, what has been your favorite?
So when Hillary Clinton ran for office in 2016 against Donald Trump, they sent a surrogate to the radio station, or had a surrogate call the radio station. I don't know if you've ever seen the show. You guys are kind of young, but Living Single. The lady who plays Max, Erica Alexander, she called in to the station, and we did a amazing interview in which she talked about why she was supporting Hillary Clinton. But it was so funny because I had grown up watching her television show. I kept calling her Max through the interview, and she was just cracking up, and she was like, everybody calls me that. But just understanding the other side of folks and why they get engaged and why they get involved, it was super cool. So that was one of my favorite interviews.
Who has been your worst?
so many. You know, the one thing I will say is that if you like talking to people and you're willing to keep asking questions, you can usually pull a good interview out of folks. It's just really about listening, and you'll hear that little nugget, that little thing that they say that you can tell that their eyes light up about it when they're talking about it, or you can hear something in their voice. So I think I'm pretty fortunate that I've been able to talk to anybody about anything and can usually figure out a way to make it an interesting interview. But you got, first, you want to talk? Come on in and let's go toe to toe. And so Eric and I started doing a weekly segment. And so that's actually how I got into this game. When Eric passed away, I actually was brought in to, because I was already doing the show part-time, so I was brought in to do the morning. So I always like to give people that backstory, that I'm not a journalist. I stumbled into this. First interview, I do not remember my first interview.
You've done quite a lot, so I understand.
You saying I'm old? What are you, I mean, it sounds like you're saying that's like really old.
No, you just have a lot of experience.
Because I heard y'all call Senator Taylor old. Living or deceased? I guess they have to be living, huh?
Probably.
Because I've always said if I could do both, you know, if there's someone I could interview that has transitioned life, it would definitely have to be Mary McLeod Bethune and Thurgood Marshall. Those would be my two, if I could interview. People that I would love to interview today would probably be Deion Sanders, because of the controversy that's happening right now, and Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Those are some good ones, yeah.
But if there are people who have passed on, do you know anybody like who you would interview?
That I would interview?
Yeah, that has.
Again, you know, just so the question you guys asked Senator Taylor about when she was growing up, what did she want to be? So when I grew up, I actually wanted to be a lawyer. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, but was raised in New York. I always like to tell people I got the best of both worlds, Southern pragmatism, but Northern tenacity. And my